Welcome to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we are rocking the frequency of love through the universe. This is the podcast where cutting edge conversation meets quantum exploration. I'm Nori, I'm your co host. Aage is the co host also, and we are here to stretch minds, shift realities, and dive deep into the mysteries of what else is possible. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're a seasoned seeker or whether you're just starting to question the matrix. We're glad you're here. And don't forget, we've got a powerful manifestation group that's brewing miracles on Sunday. And Matt will put the email address in there if you would like the Zoom link to come join us. And you're always welcome. You're welcome here. We're so grateful you're here. Shout out to Conscious Awakening Network. They are our friends and cohorts, and they've got amazing stuff going on. They've got the vault over there. So things that get censored out in other platforms don't over there. So highly recommend you go check it out. And I'm so excited tonight because we have a really special person. She's special in my life. She's a special friend. You know, we've been through some beautiful times together, and I'm just so excited for her to explain what has evolved for her. So, Aage, without any further ado, please tell the audience about our amazing friend, Amy.
Yes, I absolutely will. We have Amy Gray with us, and this was a little different because I'm usually not short of words, but try to put together the introduction for her after reading her bio was a little different for me because it blew me away what I saw in there. I didn't quite know how to do it, but I think I'm going to be all right at the end here because her story is so phenomenal about when she found out that she was no longer in the timeline and the universe she used to be. She was in a different reality and saw the evidence around her everywhere. So I tell you, folks, stay with us on this one because it's going to blow you away too. And also, she is in the process of writing 3 books at the same time. That's multitasking for you. And the 3 books, I'm going to mention them to you because look for them. Go to Amazon and put her name in there, and when she get them done, you will find the books because these sounds really good. One of them is Love Letters from My Divine Guide and Friend Solace. And the second one is Becoming, yeah, Becoming for You, the invisible thread between us. The third one, The Divine Book of Connections. And you see, we are all connected in one way or the other. She is also a visionary behind the Solelune Sanctuary, as a space where beauty, healing, and spirit converge together. And she writes about her timeline shift. This is going to be good. It's a multidimensional, permanent shift of dimensional existence. And well, you can find her on Facebook and Instagram and a few other places on the internet. So just look for her name, Amy Gray, and you can get in touch with her there. So welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank
Welcome,
you so much.
Amy.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. I'm honored, truly.
So, Amy, I knew you mostly before this happened, but I mean, how did it happen? How did it come about? And how did it come about? And what were you thinking as it was coming about? Because it's just such a massive um, sea change in your life.
It absolutely was. How it happened was that I believed in the magic of source in the universe. I knew that there was more out there. Every day I would get signs and be able to read the signs and the energies of things. And that led me to follow my intuition in all things. And by doing that, it organically happened. But when it happened, I thought, oh my gosh, am I losing my mind? But I checked, triple checked, did all the things. And my guides were like, no, you literally just shifted timelines. And I want to say that and I said this earlier, we oscillate between timelines a million times a day. And most of the time you have signs and physical representations, that may be subtle, but it's being able to read that subtle energy. But then what'll happen is you get this grand experience of literally the reality around you shifts and is different than it was. And it what got me there was frequency and alignment. And that energy propels you to walk through different dimensions and be able to experience different outcomes, right? And understanding that there has to be balance, balance of light and dark and feminine and masculine, and a balance between you know as within as without. You know what I mean? It's just it's a beautiful it's a beautiful experience. But it was definitely, it blew me out of the water, for lack of a better word, because I had no knowledge of that. I believe that you know that we're multidimensional spiritual beings, and we have gifts, and if you develop those gifts and you can set intentions and literally change every single thing in your life, in your circumstances, in your career. There's so much to be gained by dialing down and getting into yourself and your intuition, and then letting that be your co-pilot to navigate.
So, in the beginning, before it became clear, like, oh, this is what's happening, did you usually it's heralded by some contrast in life, right? I mean, sometimes it's relationship, money, health. Something goes awry in order to, I had to fall and crack my head to get my attention. So something usually calls your attention. Did that happen for you?
On a monumental level. I mean, it
Wow.
was almost comical because every time I turned around, I was having a tower moment, and I was like, my inside self was like, why am I having so many tower moments? What's going on here? And then I realized that they weren't necessarily tower moments, they were avenues of things that needed to fall away to be able to go to the next level. And you only grow through, experiences, right? So I knew what I didn't want, but it was almost like I went from being like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? What else is going to happen? To, oh my gosh, that just happened. Okay, well, I know what to do about that, or I'm not worried about it, or whatever the case may be. It's an inner peace, and it's so incredible to experience, to have inner peace no matter what's going on around you. So I relish and look forward to those tower moments now, because I know that it's going to propel me to the next level. Just like you said, I
Okay.
lost a job. The business that I had been at as an interior designer for 8 years closed all of a
Oh,
sudden. I'm a single mother, with backup plan and no whatever. I hustle every day. That happened. I healed. I had an autoimmune disease my whole life since I was a kid that was healed. Um, there's so many things. I mean, it might take another show to go over all the tower moments, but they
Right.
were really incredible. But through it all, I still had love in my heart for myself, for God, for my grace, for my family, for, I was still grateful in the dark moments.
Did you
Mm.
know, did you have a sense that something different was happening? Because we've all been sick before, maybe we've all lost a job before, but could you tell this one was different or, yeah?
Absolutely. I mean, all the important players showed up. I'm not a big fan of traditional medicine. I believe that, there are different healing modalities that would help us far better than pills and what, you know, what they do now, right? Um, but I say this because I got excited. I was thinking about something else. I got excited because I was like, I'm going to go in a different direction. But anyway, um, so because I like holistic medicine or whatever, and the way my healing came about, the important players showed up, the doctors, and they discovered exactly what was going on. But I did it from the inside, meaning that when I was sick, I didn't lay around and feel sorry for myself. When I was a little girl and I was sick and in the hospital, my grandmother and my mother would come in and they'd make hair braids and give me perfume and give me beauty treatments in the hospital and didn't let me lie around and waller in doubts and illness and all of that. So I've had their loving support over the years. And I think I was finally healed because my mind, my body, and my spirit all merged into one. I merged with my higher self and became who I was always meant to be. I did the self healing work and worked not only on myself, but I did ancestral healing work and dealt with all of the things that mostly my paternal side had going on. I mean, the amount of suicides and
Wow.
children and no marriages. And I mean, I could write a book on that alone. Um,
Wow.
but just to give you a sidebar, we found out who my paternal father's paternal family was, and that healed the whole line by
Yes.
knowing who that was and having the answers. So all of these things have happened. I've had good things, I've had difficult things, I've had whatever, but they're all amazing things. And I think that when you're open to that,
Mhm.
source really gives you all of it. All of it. It's almost like he's blowing it through a water hose. Like it's like, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm wondering also, was it that incident that you wrote about at the gas station that really proved to you that I'm not where I used to be anymore? Could you explain that? That
Oh,
just blew me
absolutely.
away.
Yeah. So my son is 21 and he has some neurodivergent superpowers, I call them. And I really try to I do a lot of doubling, and that is being present when he has to do things so he doesn't get the anxiety and the all the things and kind of shuts down. So for 12 weeks, I was driving him an hour away, sitting in a parking lot for 3 hours, and then driving home. So for 12 weeks, every Monday, it was like clockwork. And because I follow my intuition all the time, I typically don't plan things, but that had to be planned. So every Monday we did our thing. And I didn't know the area very well. And after I got him dropped off, I thought, I'm going to go over to the nearest gas station and go in the convenience store, go to the bathroom, do the whole thing, right? So typed in Waze, the nearest gas station, and went there. It literally was across the street. So I go there, I go in, I go to the bathroom, and it says key needed, please go to front. And I said, no problem. So I go up front. I said, can I have the bathroom key? They give it to me. I go in, take care of things, come out, buy some snacks in the convenience store, give them the key back, and I go back and I sit in the parking lot. I typically don't ever have time to myself. Okay. So for 3 hours, I was like, oh my gosh, my world had opened up. I can watch podcasts. I can read. I can sit here and do nothing. Which I did. I literally did. And I would just stare up at the sky. And then something would say, hey, take a picture. And I would just snap a picture that I would look at later. And I did that, and didn't think anything of it. I was like, wow, I'm really seeing a whole lot of things going on up in the sky, and I'm taking pictures, and I see orbs, and I have things going in and out, and I'm like, is this just for me? Like, I felt like I was getting a show just for me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is wild that this is for me, and I'm watching all this, and it was so cool. So I go home and I'm thinking about everything, and I pull the pictures up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all that. I've got physical documentation of what I saw. So it blew me away. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next Monday? Next Monday rolls around. I go back to the same gas station, open the door, and the whole orientation of the store had changed. So the counter that had been in one area was on the opposite side of the convenience store. Okay. I walk over, I say to the lady, hey, I need the key for the bathroom. She goes, we don't lock the bathroom. And I said, no, I was here last week and I had to get a bathroom key, and I literally went into the bathroom and got it back. And she said, no, we do not use a bathroom key. And I said, okay. So I'm looking around, and then, like I said, like everything had shifted and changed. The air felt a little bit different. It was a little thicker. And I don't know if you've ever seen energy, but in a room, it's kind of like God particles, or it looks like, imagine, how snow falls or whatever, how
Hmm.
snow falls. That's exactly what I was seeing. And I was like, wow, this is wow. So what struck me, and then all of a sudden I was excited, but then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, like my stomach's dropped, because I was like, this wasn't the experience I had last week. This couldn't have changed literally in 1 week. Like, it was even two separate convenience store clerks. The second one was like, she told me that he's the only one that works on Mondays. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen you until now. This is somebody different. She goes, no, 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 no. My family owns this business. It's always me. And I'm like, okay. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I literally shifted so good that a whole physical manifestation, like, and what's funny is after that experience, a week later, I went back because I had to see. I had to see. I had to know whether or not I was in the same reality or if I was back in the other. I knew intuitively that I was in the same reality, because when I went back to the store, it was represented like the second time when I shifted. So what's funny about this is that I had done this mantra for a few years and never really got anywhere, I thought, with it. And at night, when I was going to bed, after I would pray and do my thing, I would say, tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to be in my best and highest timeline, the most abundant and prosperous and most loving timeline where all my dreams come true. And then in the morning, I would wake up and I'd say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I am here. I am in the reality that I created. So I did that, right? For years. And then all of a sudden, after tower moments and whatnot, this magical thing happened. And, it blew my mind because this experience I had no reference for. I'm hungry for knowledge. I've read all these books. I have read books by so many people, and because I love it and I want to learn, right? But nobody talks about this stuff, about timeline jumping and what that looks like. We live in a magical universe, and there's nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
So while the magic was starting to happen back home, so to speak, what was that like? Was that beginning to change, or was everybody the same and you were seeing them differently, or they were seeing you differently, or?
So, yeah, things were different. Because I was having tower moments and all of those things right around that same time, I had been looking for a house for a year and had seen so many, and I was getting very discouraged, right? And so all of a sudden this happens, and I think within like 2 weeks, um, I had found a place and started that moving process. But it was like everything lined up. Like I had an ending, and the relationship, I was changed. I have always had a higher awareness about people and how to interact with them. And so I typically don't share unless I'm nudged by spirit or feel like it's needed, right? But what changed was the energy of the relationships that I had. It was almost like I was observing it outside of myself, viewing it, and then quantumly thinking about what to do with whatever it was. You know what I mean? It was like I was observing the situation, the person, whatever. Do you understand?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So with my son, we're connected to our children, but even more so somebody who's, on the autism scale, if you will, or they're very intuitive and energetic, and he doesn't necessarily understand. I'm a free spirit. My son thrives in structure. We're completely opposite, but we work because he understands me. Does he think like I do? No, not yet. But I don't cram it down his throat either. I heard something years ago about you can do one of two things. You can be the hippie on the corner, with holding up a sign and beating on the drum and warning everybody and doing all the things. Or you can be an example of what healing and intention and divine union and authority looks like. And that's how, by sharing your story, that's how you change people. And it's almost like it's an alchemical process. My energy helps people shift, whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah.
So along the way, Amy, did the way that you do your spirituality or your energy work or whatever you call it, did that morph for you, and how did it morph?
So much so. So I was raised in Kentucky, and I was raised Southern Baptist. And what I will say is every Sunday I go to church with my siblings and my grandfather, and it was like our special time together. I loved going. I loved going because I loved my grandfather and I loved spending time with him. And but I always felt like there was more. Like my questions, like I had deep questions that could not be answered. Like I would make Dr. Cubine, scratch his head because I would ask such metaphysical questions that he could not answer. And so that kind of propelled me on a journey. And then when I was 19, I had an experience with a group of friends. High schoolers are so fun. And we held a seance at a haunted house. And of course, me being me, I'm the ringleader, and we were using a Ouija board and doing all the things. And had an experience that really traumatized me for probably 5 or more years after the experience, because I was scared to death. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So
Wow.
I was like, okay, well, that's certainly not talked about. I mean, I saw somebody possessed,
Oh,
and that is a thing. Um, but I had, again, they don't teach you that in the Southern
right.
Baptist Church. And luckily, I had a mentor in my life. She was an African American lady. We called her Mama Madge, and she probably at the time was 90 years old. Okay.
Huh?
And I didn't know what to do with that experience while it was happening. So I called her, and she answered at 1 o'clock in the morning and told me to bring that person to her, and she literally performed an exorcism. And when I tell you, when you see something that you can't believe,
Mm.
you want answers. You want to discover why and how. So then that took me into wanting to understand different religions and, all of it. I don't necessarily subscribe to any form of religion. I love God. I think love is the religion. And I think however you get there with your relationship to source is how you get there, whatever that is.
Mm.
Um, but for me, having that experience really kind of propelled me. And just, I would, how, Aage, have you ever had the experience where you read something and it was mind blowing, that you literally was like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this right now. I cannot, this is too much for me. Like, have you ever read something that made you feel like that?
Mhm.
It's almost like you get stretched. You
Mm,
know what I mean?
mhm. Yeah. You're like, I got to put this down for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's how, I mean, that's where my biggest expansion has come from, worked by
Mhm.
Barbara Marciniak.
I love
And,
her.
I love her, but talking about the Pleiadian agenda, like 15 years ago, I
Yeah.
was like, I can't do this. And then, of course, I had nobody to talk to about it because my family is Southern Baptist.
Right. Right.
So my mom knows who I am, but I think that she worries for my soul because,
Aw.
and I love her anyway. I love her because she made me, and she's such a beautiful example of what a divine feminine is, and her strength and her beauty and her lifetime of sacrifices for her children. I mean, I can't say enough about her. No, we don't align. We both love God, but in different ways.
Mhm.
But she
Mhm.
loves me enough to try to understand,
Yeah. Nice. That's
Yeah.
and
And
I
so.
love her enough not to cram it down her throat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
see now that we are down to the bottom of the hour. And for those of you that joined us late, we are talking with Amy Gray that had a phenomenal experience when she found herself in a different timeline and a different universe than she was before. And we've been talking about that. A lot of the good stuff is we already talked about, so you got to go back and watch it again. But we're going to have more. And my next question right now, well, I got two. First of all, if you are watching us on YouTube and you like what you hear, please subscribe because that'll really help us. And also, I want to ask Amy, now you did not consciously go out and try to change timeline. It happened for you. But for those out there that really don't care much for the timeline they're in, maybe there's a way that we can engineer it so it could happen. I would love for you to talk about that because I know people would like
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. So, I think a lot of it starts with your healing, and healing the parts of you that that are in darkness, so to speak. If you have an addiction, if you're somebody who's a yes person all the time and gives your power away, it's healing not only yourself but your family line. Okay, the more so by healing, you gain an energetic frequency. It's elevated. Okay. And it's through that elevation, and you feel it inside your body. It's like when you're really excited about something, if you're cool with how it unfolds, it's a high energy. It's like when you first feel it, it feels like you're holding on to a live wire. Okay. Because it's a lot of energy. When you know how to calm your nervous system and find the peace, right? And not be reactive, then that also elevates your frequency. But I want to say one thing that is most important for someone who wants to experience this, and that is you cannot allow other people to affect what you believe, what you want, who you are. It's not, you're not living for anyone but yourself and for source. And you don't have to announce everything. Keep things to yourself as you're going through the creative process of intention and manifestation. Because if you share with other people, they're going to tell you what they think and how you should do, and this, that, and the other. Keep it to yourself. And when you have difficult experiences, find a place of gratitude. Figure out, why am I having this experience? What is it trying to teach me? By doing that, you're opening yourself up to allow the divine and spirit to assist you in developing a higher frequency. So it's really, there's no tried and true method. It's really about, going inward, going into hermit mode, being unapologetic and being self-confident. And, not everybody's going to love what I do. Not everybody's going to understand what I do, but it's not for those people. The people who do are the people who will enjoy my message and enjoy something other than what's going on in front of them, because there's a whole spiritual world of beings, of, alien helpers. There is, there's angels, and there is, Yeshua and Yahweh. And there's so much out there that it's a beautiful world. Like, it gives you all the tools that you need to develop what you need to develop. You signed up to come here. We all did. And we signed up to experience certain things. And we have free will to decide and to discover and uncover who we really are authentically and transparently, and sharing that and just loving each other. That's it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And guys, just Amy was having some technical challenges. So her Megan is the computer that she's using. That's a family member. And Mac is going to put Amy's name, her full name, in the chat, so you will have it. It's Amy Gray.
I don't know if y'all experience it, but energetically, most of the time, computers and electronics just
I don't know,
crazy things.
Recently, like everything, my bank stopped recognizing my face on my phone. All of my important sites that I need to get on say that I've tried too many times to get in, and I didn't. So yeah, I'm going through all of that. But Linda asked, let me go back. Linda asked a question. Give me 1 second, guys. Linda asked, Amy, what's your earliest memory? And did you always feel like you belonged here?
That's a good one.
So have I always felt like I belonged here? No, actually. I have never felt like I belonged here. Um, and I say that because I had a twin sister who died when we were babies, and I've always felt a loss until I discovered that her mission was to have the same mission as I do, but she's doing it from the other side, on spirit side,
Uh,
as a joined force, her and I together. And I really gravitate um, to the Arcturians. I just, I know that this whole planet and this third dimension that we're in, is not, I don't vibrate at the third dimension. And so because of that, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? I am wide awake and I am always looking, always. And it's fascinating. I think that, yeah, yeah. It's wild.
So what has opened up for you in channeling, healing, um, what has come about for you, your
Yeah.
gifts to now share?
Mm-hmm. So absolutely. So I have all the clairs. Through my elevated frequency, I'm a really creative person by nature anyway, which is why I went into interior design. I love designing sacred spaces, but um um tell me the question again, Nori. I was
Yeah.
going in a different direction.
Yeah, what are the new aspects of your gifts that have
Oh
come
yeah, 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 yeah.
forth?
Yeah, so channeling. I channel I channel the Arcturians. I channel the Galactic Federation. I channel Mother Mary. It's an internal dialogue that I have, and I know it's from them. I hear their voices, and I write down the messages. What's really wonderful is that when I'm going through things, they give me guidance on how to deal with what's going on. And it I'm so open, and I'm so happy to be so open because it's wonderful to be able to hear spirit. It's wonderful to know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you've got all the help that you need. All you have to do is call on your spirit guides, call on your angelic helpers, you know, call on your family that have crossed the spirit side. If you want to be with them, just by that simple action, you are with them. And so, what it's opened up is, gosh, I've I love Source so much more. What's opened up is that all things are possible. What's opened up
Mm.
is that every day I get magical signs that tell me exactly what needs to be told. Whether it's a bird or whether it's a license plate or a number or a series of numbers, the messages are always there. And I think that if you're open to seeing, you're open to hearing, I think that anybody can channel these same gifts. I think it really just has to do with the work that you do and your elevation. Yeah, for sure.
And
Mm.
and your willingness, because once the contrast gets smoothed out a little bit, there's that very quiet time. Like I told you before, it's the hurry up and do nothing time for me. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Okay, I'm just be sitting here, and then, oh wow, look at the sky out there. And then suddenly a bird will go by. And then I start noticing, other animals out there. And then I'm more connected to nature. And that
Hmm.
begins a whole new journey for me. Nature's a big pull for me.
Absolutely, me too. I go out all the time in my bare feet just so I can ground and hug the trees and do all the things. I mean, it's really important to honor yourself, do your work, go into hermit mode, and then experience all that the universe has to offer. You know,
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's
it is.
incredible.
It is incredible. And how do you, from your viewpoint here, because you're not done, right? We never get it done. Um, how do you see yourself sharing your gifts with others going forward? Besides your books, can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the book that I'm writing with my guy Solus, really he's a funny guy. He always gives me just what I need in that moment, almost like a good swift kick in the butt, but with a hug, which I love. Becoming for You is a book to my beloved. So part of this journey for me is going to be in union with my person, and not because I want a relationship and all of that other stuff, but I have a mission. Okay.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
mission that I have is needs a divine feminine and a divine masculine in union. Okay. And within that comes power. So Becoming for You is actually me journaling and channeling all the experiences that I was having that I wanted to share with him one day. And so it's going to be a gift to him.
It's
Um,
beautiful.
and it's really not even becoming for him, it's becoming for me and
Yeah.
discovering him. And when I tell you, to have loved someone energetically and not be in relationship is also a wild experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And so that's been eye-opening, but what I discovered in hermiting and being alone and working on myself is that I don't need anybody. So whoever, when that's meant to happen, it happens in divine timing. You know what I mean? And until then, I am really happy doing what I'm doing, and how I see myself growing or how I'm going to use my gifts. I'm not exactly sure. Well, yes, I am sure. I use them every day with every interaction,
Exactly.
no matter who it's to. It could be a construction guy who's needing furniture, and I'm doing that, but I'm still sharing energy with him or with
Mhm.
that person, and they're getting a benefit from it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that,
Absolutely.
and when Solelune opens, that's also going to be something that I'm going to use to share my gifts. And it is a healing sanctuary. It's a movement, and I believe that everyone has the right to beauty and wellness and wholeness and all of that. And I'm creating a salon and spa and wellness center that will offer that to everyone. As a single mom, there have been times in my life and on my healing journey that I really needed healing but couldn't afford it. So I have found a way that will be able to offer services to the people who can't, and they will still be able to have the same experiences. And really, it's a mission to support the person at whatever stage they're in and with whatever they need.
I love that. That's so beautiful, Amy. That's so beautiful.
I
Do you
want
Thank you.
know?
to
Yeah, go ahead, Huggy. I'm sorry.
let me think back again on when you discovered that you were not in the previous timeline. Things were different.
Mm.
I got a sneaky suspicion there's more commonalities with people in this. Other people have had things like that happen, but they don't dare to talk about it. Maybe it's more common than we would think. What do you think?
I absolutely think so. And I think that people probably experience it very often, but I think they don't share because there's not enough information out there about it. So again, when I had the experience, I tried to go that route to figure out who I could talk to or how I could understand this, outside of, I wanted some scientific, like, I wanted to know the formula, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and this happens for people. Like I said, you oscillate all the time. I think that if you consciously think to yourself, I'm going to notice something today, you just start noticing things.
Mm.
Notice, you notice how you feel. And so I can tell you that when you have these experiences, these quantum experiences, there's a feeling that comes over the body, this excitement, because something's coming. It's the feeling of something's
Yeah.
coming. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited about it and I can't wait. And I have literally been in that energy since it happened. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. What's going to happen today? I fully expect something awesome to happen because I'm intending it. And living in this reality and maneuvering, things and quantum experiences dictates that you need to have an open mind and not allow anyone else to take that away from you. You know what I mean? Don't share it with the people who can't understand. You
Yeah.
know, and I hope that people who do have the experience can reach out to me if they have any questions, because you can change realities. You can literally, if you don't like what's going on, you have the power to change it. And you
I
set the
love that.
intention. And how you manifest is you set the intention, you put action behind it, and then you leave it alone. And then it happens. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what anybody says or whatever. And for each person, I think everybody's different. Everybody has their own mission. And I think that each person can do it and have that capacity. And if you don't like the reality that you're in, that's the first step. So the second thing would be, okay, well, what kind of reality do I want to be in?
Mm-hmm.
That is how you uncover the formula,
Yeah.
because you don't like what you got going on, but you want something different. So what is that different? And then
Yeah.
being able to acknowledge what you want and then go after it and be that. Be the
Mhm.
energy of that. And it
Exactly.
is. And it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly. It's so much fun what you're talking about. Like, uh, I go to a lot of estate sales and on the weekends, and I said, universe, show me something magical and beautiful today. And I happened to stop to get a cup of coffee, and there was this elderly lady. She was so adorable. She had the most magical eyes. And she said, hey, can you turn around for a minute? So I turn around and she's like, oh, looks like Dolly Parton. I'm like, I know it's the hair. I get it. I get it. And then she said, I said, but thank you. No, I really don't. And she said, well, I have this. And she went in her little fanny pack that I've been waiting to give to somebody special. And I don't know if you can see it. It's a little Jesus. It is so adorable. I keep it by
That
my
is
bed.
precious.
I know. And that's what happened when I said, universe, show me something special today. So it's exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ask and you shall
it's,
be given.
It was so
that's
sweet.
it.
I gave her the
Absolutely.
biggest hug. Gave her the biggest hug.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
hugs. I think everybody should hug.
Absolutely.
Everybody, when they hug me, tell me that it's the best hug they've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
I believe it. Yeah.
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 If
I
you
love
don't
that.
ask, you don't get anything. It's like my mom used to say. They said, that uh, beggars don't get much, but the one that never ask get nothing.
That's right. That's right.
So ask,
Knowing your
right?
worth, knowing what you want, and being unapologetic about it. You
Yeah.
know, I have. I want to share too with you, real quick, that when I've been elevating in my life at the most crucial moments, I have told absolutely no one. And then when they find out later, they're like, well, why didn't you tell me? Well, it's because I don't need to share. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by manifestation and quantum and doing all the things. Move in silence,
Absolutely.
until you have the community around you. And sometimes, it takes a long time. And also be really careful with who you allow around you and your energy. I,
Yes.
for the last 5 years, have not been in a job, had a friend, or anything that, I've gotten rid of things. And I do it like I make jokes all the time and say I have funerals. I have a funeral for a job. I'm done with it. Not the right thing for me. Moving in a new direction. I do that literally with everything.
That's great.
I let it go. And really, how they say, let go and let God.
Yeah.
That's the ticket. You let go and you quit trying to kind of dictate how it's going to look,
Yeah.
and be open to however it shows up.
Yeah. I like that because it's really like seriously cutting the cord. If you're having a funeral for it, you're really cutting the cord so it's not siphoning any of your energy back
That's
in.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
so good. That's so
That's
good.
right.
Well, Amy, how can people reach
Mm.
you? Do you share your
Yeah,
email?
absolutely. So you can reach me at Solelune period 144 at yahoo.com or at gmail.com. Okay. Website is presently under construction, but you can also find me on TikTok, on Facebook, Amy Gray, and Instagram, Amy Gray 711.
7-Eleven. I love it.
Hmm.
I love it. Aage,
That's,
want to ask your magic question?
yeah, we got quite a bit of time left, so I would say for people listening out there first, when they hear that shifting timeline, it is so far outside of what they've been used to thinking.
Mhm.
But narrow down a little bit because these things happen. It
Mhm.
happened to you, Amy. It happens to others. And I changed my timeline about, well, at least 3 times that I know of. And I'm still wondering what the guy back in Europe looking like me being a farmer, what he's doing. But it happens. Accept it. When you see something showing up in your life that is just totally foreign, accept it.
Mm.
If you like it, maybe you want to stay with it. And what you just said a little while ago, Amy, the excitement. The
Mm.
excitement and the feeling of wonderful feelings may allow you to stay in that timeline because the
Mhm.
universe have a little safety valve in it. That is that if you slip into another one, it'll bring you back. But maybe that excitement can keep you where you are, where you like it better. So
It will. It
I
absolutely
think
will. And it's you'll totally it keeps you there. And I've been in the same reality since I jumped, okay? And in this reality, my nervous system is not out of control. I am peaceful no matter what's going on. I'm grateful. I'm joyful. I'm looking for the magic around me. I'm in creation mode all the time. Um yeah, it's all of
mhm.
those things.
Yeah, remember we live in a mind-created universe. It's all happening here and here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here and here.
So yeah, so we can create our reality. And I think you sitting in the parking lot by yourself for 3 hours, I think was instrumental in making this happen because that could be a meditative state of you where you were thinking about things. Or I think that
Yeah.
those 3 hours was part of it.
Yeah, I was it really was. It was structured almost for someone who's not structured. I was
Yeah.
forced every Monday for 3 hours to,
Mm.
do that. And at first, when I discovered that that's what we were going to be doing, I was a little resistant because I thought, oh my gosh, I got so much to do. I've got projects, I've got this, whatever. And then I thought, wait a minute, Amy, you're like,
Yeah.
of course you've got time. And of course I would. But, you know, sitting by yourself, it's like the first thing you think about is like, oh my gosh, I got 3 hours. What am I going to do? I can do anything. And then you do nothing. And then you look in the sky. Or I've become someone who doesn't really enjoy TV unless it's a documentary and I'm learning. So for me, sitting in the car for 3 hours, I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to learn and grow. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I shifted and had that experience in the
Yeah.
beginning of that 12 weeks, because I had a foundation to grow from there. So every Monday I would go back and expect to see signs and expect that I was going to be in the same reality that I was in. I love this reality. So far, I'm not needing to shift, but when I do, I will.
Yeah.
I'm following, I think that a lot of times we allow other people to dictate our lives. And I think that if you use your own intuition to make your decisions that really
Yeah.
brings it about. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a feeling that you get that you need to do something, or you need to be somewhere, or you need to say something. If it's just like that. Any thought that pops into your head is divine orchestration, pretty much. It's like following a message. You know what I mean? It shows up,
Yeah.
and then you get to go down the rabbit hole and uncover exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we live in a multidimensional universe, and we are multidimensional beings. We can, if we create our reality and our life in our mind first, if it isn't to be in this timeline, we could be flipped into a different one where it is possible. So there are no
Absolutely.
limitations. Yeah.
It's like, how you hear people talk about the differences between the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension, and how we're elevating and doing this. That is, most people, probably thought that it was going to be like a different planet, right? But in a sense, it is, because you're basically living in a dimension that some things aren't happening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I
Absolutely.
still have that last question for you, though. And I didn't tell you because I wanted to blindside you. And the question is, if you could talk to the whole world and the world is listening, what would you tell them?
Gosh, I would tell them how much they're loved and how incredible they are, and how not to, you know, to be to have a to be heart-centered and to live. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I think that the real message is love and unity and supporting each other, whether, and it doesn't matter. It's the differences that make us all family. It's the
Hmm.
difference. And my message would be, I want them to know how much I love them and how much I pray for their healing and their elevation, and how excited I am for them on their journey, and excited that, I might
Yeah.
not meet you in this lifetime, but I'll see you in the next.
Yeah. With other words, it doesn't matter what the question is. The answer
Love.
is love.
It is. It is.
Always.
It's through that always. There is
Yeah.
nothing else. And there's love, and then there's the absence of love.
Yeah.
There's, but it's like you would never appreciate the light if you didn't go through darkness, so it's love. Everything is
Yeah.
about love. Yeah. I loved that
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Okay.
Amy, thank you so much. And
You're
um,
welcome.
once you
It's
get
my
your
pleasure.
once you get your book written, you have to come back so we can talk about your book and how things are evolving for you, because it seems
Yeah.
like you're on the fast track.
I am, I'll be 53 in January, and I always joke that any time is the right time. And honestly, I feel like I'm just getting started. I've
Yeah.
got
Beautiful.
I've got so much to do and so many
Yeah.
people to meet and um so much love to share and so much
Yeah.
healing to share, and I can't wait.
There you go. No,
It is
thank
it
you
is just
very.
an honor and a pleasure to witness you, Amy. I'm so grateful. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll definitely see you again soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you both so much. I love you.
Love
I
you
honor
too.
you. I'm
You
so
too.
Yeah.
excited for your work. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank.
Amy. Thank you, Augie. Thank you,
Thank
Mac.
you,
Thank
Artie.
you, everybody. We'll see you next week. I'm not sure if I'll be back. It depends on where I am in my shifting. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, coming back soon. So
Yeah.
much love
And
to everybody. Take good
if you're
care. We'll see you
if you're
next
still on just on YouTube, just subscribe.